Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today for the ILA event, which is actually a mentoring session where we'll interact with our speakers today, who will drive us through the learnings. I'm sorry, could you please stay on mute? Yeah. So my name is Madhura. I work with Indian Lawyers Association, and we are a non-profit organization, a platform for legal professionals across the country. A platform that actually helps the lawyers to come together, network, learn from each other, share, discuss issues, and kind of create a momentum which helps them in their professional journeys. We work on a model which is based on chapter basis. So we have 70 plus chapters across the country, and these chapters add a lot of local flavor to how ILA operates. So we have 70 plus chapters. We'd be very happy to invite you to join a chapter in your city. If there is no chapter, we would start one with you. So I'll send more details to you on email maybe tomorrow, and we'll be happy to stay in touch. I hand it over to Mr. Navneet Chok, who is the founder of ILA, managing partner Chok LLP. Will moderate the session today. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Madhura. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing such a great job with our organization. We have ways to go. Our goal is to have 400 chapters in the country. There's 400 cities in India with a population of over 1 lakh, and we want to be in all 400 of them. We've done a lot of webinars throughout the COVID period and since then, and our webinars go live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So we have a wonderful panel today. We did a panel about a month ago on how to start a law practice, and then there were some people that said that we would like to hear from senior lawyers on their journey and how they set up their practice so that the young lawyers can benefit. So we decided we'll do another session. So we have a few panelists. I'll ask them to introduce themselves and tell us about their personal and professional journey, and then we'll do questions and answers. We'll start with you, Ankita.
Sure, sir. First of all, thank you for inviting me for this panel discussion. Secondly, a very good evening to everyone. My journey, my law firm started in 2019 by the name of Anjana Legal and Tech Solutions. My practice is for 11 years. I was with the senior counsel practicing under him in Punjab Haryana High Court. And then I went to Singapore for my master's from NUS. And when the moment I came back, I decided to open my own organization because I wanted to do something revolutionary. And here what I am doing is basically the litigation, which is the traditional form. And we have stepped in and we are doing very good in the tech side. So we are into the Web3 world altogether. So we deal with the blockchain concepts, we deal with the cryptocurrencies, we deal with the virtual digital assets, we deal with the metaverse, NFTs. So this is which is the new technology which is going to come. And we will be also a very prominent part of it because ultimately everything will be dealt in the courts. So definitely that was my idea. And this is how I started. Under which I also run a Vidhanik Incubator under this law firm, which was shifted to Vidhanik Incubators Private Limited now. And I'm a legal head to that. So this is my journey. This is how I opened my new firm. And so far we are doing really well. Yes.
And what city are you in?
I'm in Chandigarh. So one thing which I really wanted to add is, everyone wants to go to Delhi, Bangalore, or to Mumbai, or all the top firms which are existing in the metropolitan city. But my vision is to make Chandigarh a place where again the top law firms can work, the best, the cream can work. Everyone can operate from Chandigarh. So a lot of people offered me to shift to Gurgaon or to Bangalore or to Mumbai. I have a lot of offers in my hand, but I am still, and I'm praying that I should continue in Chandigarh. because I really want North India to have its own law firm out here.
Of course, somebody has to start professional law firm in smaller cities as well, right? So I'm glad you're hanging around Chandigarh. Plus, I think the air is a little better than Delhi, don't you think?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Akash, your turn.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to join this panel. Hello, everyone. My name is Akash Gupta. I'm an assistant professor at General Global Law School. And my journey is that I started my undergrad in Tamil Nadu National Law University. After completing that course, I went to Stockholm for an arbitration LLM. Afterwards, I did a traineeship with Asian International Arbitration Center, and then I joined Jindal as a faculty. And I'm sure to talk about how to build a good law firm, what's the best practices from an academic perspective. Thank you very much.
And what do you teach?
I teach arbitration courses and negotiation and mediation. So I teach both to the undergrads as well as the postgrad LLM courses.
Okay, great. Kavita?
Good evening, everyone. Kavita Vijay. I head the Chennai practice of IC Universal Legal. We are a full-service law firm, and we are pan-India. So we do the entire range. Chennai, I've been with the Chennai operations since we started in Chennai in 2006. So it's been a good, so it's been a long stint. I had a brief stint in Bombay before that. I have about 20 plus years of experience. So we focused, I think, for us, the interesting part was Chennai is very, I think historically also litigation centric. If you know, most of the very senior senior counsels who are practiced or in the past in Supreme Court and even presently have a lot of roots in South and Chennai particularly. So we started the operations there as a 2-member team. I can't boast that I started my own firm, but I joined Universal Legal. And being a 2-member firm doing only corporate law, it was very interesting. We used to obviously work with Navneet, and we got to do basically get your hands into everything, because there was really, we didn't have a big team or anything, but it was one of the most amazing learning experiences, I think. You learn so much on the job. And it was quite a time where we had to convince clients where, that we're not having a litigation practice. It was because our expertise of the 2 people were in corporate law. But that was also one of our USPs, which kind of, as far as corporate law going, it's niche. And, the fact that you're available for them when everybody else is sitting in the court kind of helped us come a long way from there. Today we're at a 35 plus member team in Chennai alone. We are about 6 partners, and pan-India we're about 180 plus lawyers. And we do the entire range of, M&As, private equity transactions. So it's been really a good journey.
So Kavita, you mentioned when you started, there were 2 people, and now you have 25 plus in Chennai. So the first topic we want to cover is human resources. There is an old Chinese proverb that says, if you want 1 year of prosperity, then grow grain. If you want 10 years of prosperity, then grow trees. And if you want 100 years of prosperity, then grow people. So can you tell us your secrets on when it comes to human resources? How did you manage to build such a big team?
Yeah, so I think first, Navneet is 35, not 25, so I'm really happy to say that. Yeah, I think it's a very good point. I think the main asset of a law firm is, after all, our team members, and you really do need to invest in them. I think you also have to empathize and realize that one of the things I've realized over the course of the last couple of years, particularly, is that there is a generational shift. And you do need to evolve with the times, and you can't be in that little cubicle which says, this is how I did my training and this is how it it needs to be. You need to move with the times and kind of work with them, because I think this next generation, they have a different approach, and so we have to work with that approach. I think mentoring them is a very important part, and I think that's kind of helped us. We have people who have been with us for a really long time, a senior team, because I think the way we have also worked and we have been able to retain people is we're very inclusive, and the idea is that there's a sense of ownership that you kind of try and invest in every team member in the firm, and a pride in the deliverables that is going on. So one is you give them a perspective of the matter. You're not just going to give them a part of a section of a diligence, for instance, without giving that. I try. I mean, I can't say that, but you try to give them the perspective of the matter that they are actually working on, so that they feel included, and also that there's a little bit better understanding when they apply when they work on the matter. So I think that has kind of helped us, because what I do see in my team is really a sense of pride in all their work. There, a sense of, this is my client, and I really need to do my best for this client. It's not just at the partner level; it kind of flows right down, which I think has kind of helped us.
Good. So you treat them like human beings and not machines.
I would hope so.
So Akash, speaking of generational shift, you see a lot of young lawyers, more than any of others on the panel. What is changing? What do the young lawyers graduating today, what do they want?
So some of my friends, like from law firms like CAM or Kita, tell me about the new changes, especially after the COVID-19, that some of these firms have came up with a work from home policies. So some of them say that, you can either choose for like the next 6 months, you will be coming down to office for like a day or 2 days in a week. Or some of them also gives you an option of a remote office, that you don't need to be even there in that same city. You can be at your own native place and you can, work from home. Apart from these, what I think that there is a shift in, the mindset of using technology, especially like after the COVID-19, we see a lot of, client management software systems, which are being used in a lot of law firms. And I think what the discussion was ongoing with respect to the human resources. So I'll say that some of the law firms, so I was reading a survey by Roland Friday from UK. It's a 2023 survey. And the big law firms, including Allen and Overy or HSF for that matter, or Baker and McKenzie. So there was a survey in which the question was that how you are satisfied, whether you are satisfied with the work-life balance. And it was shocking. The results were shocking, because Allen and Overy was like, almost the data was like Allen and Overy, 57% of them were satisfied. For Baker McKenzie, it was like 44%. So I'll say the next generation of lawyers, or people from graduating in the recent years, a lot of people are focusing more on how do you actually balance work and life. So that's something which is we also see on platforms like on LinkedIn, that on some of the days like Friday or Mondays, you have like some hours kept for something like group meeting or team building exercises. So these are some of the changes which we see in the recent times, especially after COVID-19.
Good. So Ankita, 10 years from now, how many lawyers do you want in your practice?
10 years down, I would love to have more than 50 plus.
Okay. And what 3 things do you think you have to do to get there?
First of all, what I'm seeing, because now I'm in charge, because when you work under someone, you have multiple complaints, that my boss is not doing this, that, how we can do this, how he can ask us to do that. So during that phase also, I also had complaints. So even I've gone through that journey. But when I have come into a charge and how to balance it, I saw a very different perspective altogether. So when it comes to the team building, the first thing is to what Kavita ma'am said very rightly, you really need to invest in them. You really need to take him as a team member, not as a junior or someone else. And then one thing which I have started practicing, because I've seen, I don't know about the Delhi High Court or other high courts, how it practice, but in Punjab Haryana, it's very common nature, that for initial 3-4 years, only the councils will be or juniors will be sent only for taking adjournments or to file a application or replies or something. But they were never given a chance to argue the matter, at least test themselves whether they are into this or they will be making their future in this or not. So in my firm, what I'm trying to do, I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them for the arguments. I'm pushing them for everything. I'm training them with the judges how to observe, how to notice a judge, how to see what in which direction the judge is going, how the observation is to be made, what argument is to be put forth, how to do the research. So yes, a lot of investment is to be put into it. And then in my firm, we also give a 3 months training period internship to students. So for the litigation side, it's 2 months mandatory, because I think in 1 month nobody can learn anything. Even they cannot understand what is the culture of the office. So for minimum is 2 months, and that if they are coming for the tech side, then minimum is 3 months. So I have people who are doing internship for 3 months, for 6 months, and some are physical internships, some are online internships. And I've seen a lot of difference in kids also. Yes, I'll call them kids because I call everyone in the office kid only. So I've seen their demands are increasing, but their devotion is decreasing. So this is one thing which I'm observing, and being in the same generation, because I've just turned 35. No shame to say my age, but down the line there's a difference of 10 years, and I'm seeing there's a immense changes. They want results very fast. They're lacking patience. They're not understanding that you cannot leave the traditional part. Traditional, you have to take along the traditional part along with the new tech part. So people, I think the kids are also juggling in between what they want to do, because there's so many streams coming up. So here, yes, we are trying to do investment into the law students also. And when we are giving internship, we are also having the tech people, marketing people. So we make teams with them, so they can understand what is happening, how to understand a graph, how to understand the market, how to understand from the tech side, or from the other, if there's a cybercrime issue, then how to deal with the forensic science things. So this is how we are trying to build. We make teams and we teach them. They work together on some projects, and yes, they're delivering really good now. So this is what I'm trying to do, and I'm seeing the changes. Marketing.
Thank you, Ankita. So Kavita, the next topic we want to cover is client service and training of employees and ensuring that our clients get good service. So how do you ensure that your clients are getting the best legal service possible?
I think, what I've learned, and it's taken me quite a few years to learn that, it's, I've come to a point where obviously the first thing is to understand what is it that the client wants, right? So when we get an email from a client, sometimes there's no background. There's really a lot of assumptions which are made at our end. Because, we just deep dive into the contract review with a very blind legalistic view. I think especially in corporate, it's very important to get that perspective of, perspective of what is it that the client is trying to achieve? Where is the negotiating skills? How is the balance of power between, say, the client and your counterparty? You need to kind of factor all that in, and you need to kind of, it's very easy to kind of scare a client, right? And tell him, oh my God, this is such a one-sided contract, indemnity is scary, liability, there's no limitation of liability. But I think, what is the end objective? He has a business to run. He has to, this could, irrespective, it's a client which has come to him, or a supplier, or whatever the requirement of the, whatever the nature of the contract. So I think it's important to maintain a very balanced view to ensure that actually your business objective of the client is being met, not confine yourself to only the legal aspects of a contract. And I think that has become an increasing requirement, because clients are, I see them turning around to you a lot more now and actually asking you more from that aspect and less from a. Nobody wants to, and it's sad, but nobody really wants to know what the law is, right? They want to know what's the solution, what is the workaround methodology, what is the best, if I have 10 points to negotiate, what are the points that I want to drop and what are the points that I want to try to push through? And that larger perspective, you definitely need to maintain when you give to your clients. So I think, that has really kind of helped me. Because I try to, I think one of the things that I've always, the feedback that I've gotten is I've tried to get to a balance, especially negotiations. I try to see like a midpoint and get the job done rather than, be very nitpicky and becoming very fussed about, very, very small minutiae, or the intent is to get the job done. They want to get into the commercial contract and they want to start the business together. Because I'm not in litigation. So I'm looking at it purely from a corporate angle. Sorry, Navneet. What was the second part? I just recall
to ensure that your employees are being trained properly so that they can continue to render good service.
How we have managed that is we don't have any, it comes at a cost sometimes, but we don't have any single member working on any matter. So everything always has a team of two, at least, depending on the complexity of the matter. So there'll always be a senior and a junior. And the intent is that the juniors kind of work, first does a review and then sits with the senior while the seniors do the review. So you kind of educate the junior on the matter, because our work we learn on the job. We don't really, law college teaches you the law, but law college doesn't teach you, the practical aspect that you need. So that's kind of helped us. I also have this habit, this practice of, I think, where we, so every morning we spend 10 minutes where we just kind of take stock on, the matters of the day, but there's an extra 5 to 10 minutes, which is just spent on updates. Excuse me. And the update is not about, okay, has this legislation been passed? The update is not just linked to confined to that. It could be a legislation change. It could be a business transaction which has happened. It could be a new entry into a new business line by a particular conglomerate. Anything of interest, but which is, out there in the news, and kind of just share it, or you share. If there is no news that we have to share, which is very rare, you even share like what interesting, you did a contract the previous day or the previous week and you had some interesting learn from it. Because I think the fundamental aspect which I've always learned from every matter. There is no concept that you know it all, right? So if it looks like, in fact, I have so many clients who tell me it's just a cut, copy, paste. Can you give this to me like half an hour? It's not. No matter what, we may use a format, but we really have to still put our thoughts together and, kind of customize it for the client's requirements. And every matter has some new learning point for you. And I think that's the takeaway, that, you can't stop learning. And that's the fascination which should keep them going. So I think if you kind of inculcate that in the juniors, it kind of helps them grow faster. Excuse me.
Thank you, Kavita. So Ankita, what is your secret? I'm sure your clients are very happy with you. So what is your secret of rendering good client service?
As what Kavita ma'am said, now the demands of the clients have changed. It's immensely changed. They don't need only a legal advice. They also want a strategy, how the entire process is going to happen. So in that process, because I am, so I'll just first tell, I'm doing both litigation as well as the corporate work. So when we sit with the clients, so my clientage is with the top management. So we sit together, we discuss. So the discussion is not about the legal. The discussion is if we are making this plan of business strategy, how the legal can support us or not. If we are making this marketing strategy, whether we are saved or not. So now the lawyer is to be everywhere. It's not only from the legal perspective. So with the corporate clients, definitely their demands have been very different now. And when I talk about the tech side, now my tech clients thinks that I should understand the tech. Only then I'll be able to guide them legally. So so I have to upgrade myself. So if I'm doing something, I should know how to how their pitch decks are working, how their tokenomics is working, how their contracts are working, how their equity dilutions are working. So, so sometimes they even give me do a due diligence on this person, whether this person will be a good advisor to our team or not. So the demands is totally different now from the corporate clients. Contrary to the litigation clients, their demand is to go on the fast pace. Now they're tired of long dates or decision coming after 2-3 years, or they're waiting for this. So now in the this litigation side, the demand of time has come as an evolution. The demand of arguing a matter, the demand of giving results as soon as possible, taking short dates, not long dates. So yes, both sides, the evolution have come. And how we manage is the same thing, what they demand, we serve them. And we are also, but it doesn't mean that we're not upgrading ourselves. Me and my team, when it comes to the tech side, we have also taken sessions from Berkeley to learn tokenomics. How this tokenomics, because we have to integrate that thing into a contract. And when we will draft a contract, it will go to a smart contract. So if we don't understand how the distribution of the tokens are coming, or equity is evolving, or what they're going to give as incentives that are happening, because the business side is turning upside down. So till the time we're not able to give a legal language to it. So what even I do, what Kavita ma'am told, that we discuss, the team discuss, even I improve their language. I tell them this word is not to be used here, or this. So it is not only the improvement on the subject matter, but I also improve them over a language, how to write, how to express, how this turns the meaning, how this will help the client. One thing which I have made very strictly in my organization, none of the contracts will be cut copy paste. Nothing is to be copied. Nothing is to be different from different contracts. Sit, understand your client, what he wants, write that, put it there, and do stuff. So here, this, if I say they don't go to Google, they don't take a draft or something, or change language, nothing. And I don't know, somehow I think it's a blessing from God, or the blessing from my previous boss, which is Mr. Manmohan Lansari, that I can catch when they're copying something. I can understand this is not their language. So I am putting the practice of not.
So your employees can't use ChatGPT?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one thing. We've done an experiment with ChatGPT. ChatGPT doesn't carry information also properly. It's wrong. So once I was just putting what is the difference between a probate and a succession suit. So ChatGPT gave a case law, and the case law was dealing in some other subject matter. So I must tell on this platform ChatGPT, because I come from the tech side, ChatGPT is not 100%. Please don't use it. It's better to go to the Google and research. That is better, or SSC Online, or Manu Patra, or other places, but not ChatGPT from the legal perspective.
It's great for getting messages to send to your wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you understand the concept of ChatGPT, it came from the evolution, how the male and a female conversation happens. So basically, all this came from all the apps, dating apps. They wanted to see how the expression, so they started storing the expression when you're anger, when you're in love, when you are just trying to take a surpass. So all what ChatGPT or AI is, they can take all your expressions, they stored it, they have filtered those expressions, and now they're giving back to you. So this is how we are losing how to even write a sentence also. That's why students don't know how to write even a sentence. So this is something which I have made something in my firm, that no copying in my firm. No drafts. So I'm not saying copying, but it's like not taking a draft as a reference and work on it.
So Akash, from a client service point of view, what do you think is missing in our legal system? What do you think the lawyers should be doing more of? What do you hear is the number one complaint about the lawyers in the country?
I think in some of these situations, especially when we talk about ADR, a lot of times we see that the lawyers don't provide the potential options. So, for example, let's say if the dispute could have been resorted through, negotiation or mediation, or even with, arbitration, there may be a chance that some of the firm senior members will suggest emergency arbitration. And in some of the matters, especially in emergency arbitrations in India, or let's say even from Stockholm, we see that some of the matters which goes for emergency arbitration, the invoice for an emergency arbitration is quite higher than a full arbitration altogether. So at some point of time, the awareness or updating your legal knowledge with respect to that particular niche area of law is something which is helpful. And that is something which is missing. And another example is from the mediation centers we have in India. So some of the mediation centers, we see that some firms which are engaging with respect to mediation matters under the family law, let's say a commercial dispute, the firms don't engage too much into mediation because the mediation is like, they don't appreciate mediation as a way to resolve disputes because they push the parties to go for arbitration. At some point of time, the client's interest is overridden by the interest of the firm. And this is something which we see in a lot of cases, even if the firm is aware that there may be a chance that this arbitration award will not see the light of the day, but still they'll push the parties to go for a setting aside in the High Court and then later on an appeal to the Supreme Court. So I think it's more important to put the client's interest first, and it should be client-centric more than it should be the firm's practice center.
Thank you, Kash. So Kavita, let's talk about marketing and business development. So as you know, lawyers in our country can't advertise, can't have I guess they can have a website with some disclaimers, and business promotion is generally frowned upon because it's supposed to be a gentleman's profession. So you've done great in Chennai and built a firm to 35 lawyers. So that obviously means that you're getting a lot of business and repeat business. So what is your advice to a young lawyer who's starting out a practice as to how they can do marketing and business development?
Yeah, I don't think I'm the ideal person to say this because I think we've been lucky enough. I think the best marketing tool is your work. I mean, no matter, at the end of the day, that credential that goes from a client to another person, excuse me, holds you in much better stead than anyone else, introducing you. And that has actually worked for us. So one is repeat work from our clients. Second is, I think, also the fact that the client has gone around and actually been the one who's kind of introduced us to others or put us in touch. And that's how our work has kind of increased. I think it's also, it's good that today's world offers a lot of forums where you can participate. And, there's enough and more in every city, right? And I'm talking about business forums, right? You have your TAI, you have your CII, you have your FICCI, you have your bar, enough and more, even the legal associations. So I think there are enough and more events and conferences is more a one-off, but I think it's these kind of forums where you start developing and you also start, you interact on a regular basis. I think which, could really pave the way to get more clients. But at the end of the day, the first thing is your work, because if your work is not going to stand the test, then, no amount of marketing is going to kind of help you. So.
Sure. Ankita, what's your secret of biz dev? What advice to young lawyers?
Again, I have a mixture of things because if I say, since I've started my own work, I've never procured any work. I've never went for procurement. It is my work which spoke, and people come automatically. It's like a chain. One client is happy, he sends to another one. The another one is happy. So at times we get clients only for consultation, or we get for they hire us for that. But when I saw the other side, which is the corporate side, the stories are a bit different. When it comes to the corporate side, people generally don't share their people who they are consulting to, because again, there's some competition in their head or something is there. But eventually what I'm witnessing or what I am doing, we are getting into more on the education side. We educate people, we write articles, we are putting a lot of sharing our views over LinkedIn or other websites, or we have created our websites. If we say that the website should not be created, I think that I still remember, Navneet sir, our first session was on this, that whether we should advertise or not, or the Advocate Act says about that, or how it works. So today also I'll say everyone is doing this. It's the Bar Council who is doing this. It's the the state bar associations are doing this. They have their own websites. Then lawyers have their websites. The firms have their websites. So till the time, I think this is the one latest media thing, the tech side, that you can easily reach out to people. You can tell them what you are interested in, what you are working at. So now I've seen on LinkedIn that people are sharing their judgments also, their daily orders also, what they have achieved and what, so that people or masses can know about it. Otherwise, it is very difficult, to sit, like if I'm sitting in Chandigarh, I'm working all over the world. I have team in Dubai, I have team in Canada, I have a team in Delhi, I have a team in Mumbai. So we all are working together. So we are all first generation ones. And this is how we are spreading, and this is how people are knowing us. This is how, the tech side is looking. And there's a one more interesting thing. I have seen, or I'll not name it, but I have seen the big firms or other firms are also going and checking the LinkedIn profiles of the students who are applying. So even they are cross-checking or doing the due diligence from the media itself or the internet itself. So because people are expressing what they are, what they work, what are their interests over LinkedIn, or appearing into conferences or writing something. So I think that has become a mode of, shuffle the type of people you want in your organization. So if I need to go for a tech person, I'll see what is the inclination of that candidate is under in the tech side, what they have done, what are their inclination, whether it's negative side or a positive side. So I think internet has playing very good role when it comes to human resource, advertising, expressing what you want. And I think if we all of us have a constitutional right of expression, then even lawyers do have, because we do protect. So marketing is kind of an expression we are showing to the litigant, I can say to the clients or to the journal public. So yes.
So Ankita, Chetan Kumar has a question. He's a first-year law student and he wants to start his law firm, focusing on two major fields. So I guess the question he's asking is, he's in first-year law student, so he wants to start preparing. So as he's preparing, what should he focus on so that as soon as he graduates, he can start a law firm? And do you advise him to start a law firm on his own on day one, or do you advise him to work somewhere for a few years?
I will never say to open a law firm at a first go. There are a couple of reasons. I've seen people going into depression when they don't get work. So if you're a first year law student, the best part is this 5 years. In this 5 years, go and explore every side, whether it's a human rights, whether it's litigation, whether it's corporate, whether it's any kind, district court, high court, everywhere. Go and touch base everything, so that at least you know what special is inside you and what you can support in, where you can excel in. I have seen a lot of people who have potential of writing, but they're working in law offices, not getting even the draft because they've joined a senior counsel office, and automatically the matters comes from outside, so they don't even get a chance to draft a matter also. So my advice to all the students who are at least first year, that please go see what allure you, where you have a zeal to put, where you can put your commitment in which side, and then start excelling. So by 4th year, you should come to know what you're doing, where you have to go, whether it's a tech side, litigation side, or it is a corporate side, or it is arbitration, or there are other space law, international law, or you want to go study abroad or enhance your skills, you want to do PhD. So by 4th year, your head should be very clear, so that the 2 years, the 4th and 5th year, you should commit yourself to that stream where you want to get it. And then after learning the practice of the market, how people do, how to deal with the client, how to manage the client, how to render your services to client, then after I think 4-5 years, at least after 5 years, you can open your law firm.
So I want to read a quote from Martin Luther King. He once said, "Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of helping others or in the darkness of destructive selfishness." Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So, Akash, I wanted to ask you, in your college, when you're teaching law students, are you inculcating the good efforts of pro bono and helping the poor of the country that don't have money to afford a lawyer? How are you teaching this to students? And then you wanted to ask Ankita and Kavita a question, that should pro bono be made mandatory in the country? So what are your thoughts?
So Professor Madhav Menon started the National Law Universities in India with the mindset that people from different law colleges, which were there before NLUs, everyone was practicing in different field. So the idea to build a National Law University was to get some lawyers who will be doing a lot of pro bono works, who will be working for the marginalized sections of the society. However, if we talk about the success of that particular idea, we all know what has happened in the last 20-30 years of national law universities. So I think after the COVID phase, there is a very good scheme initiated by the government of India, which is the Nyay Bandhu scheme. So Nyay Bandhu scheme provides 1 lakh of sponsorship from the government to all the impaneled law schools. Jindal is also a part of it. So basically your legal aid society gets a funding of 1 lakh and the students adopt villages nearby the law school. And you render services, you use those funds to give free legal aid, to fight cases for the marginalized society. And that's something which, gave me this conception that as a, law schools are doing their bit using this Nyay Bandhu scheme. The government is also doing a bit to appreciate and to motivate the law students to help the marginalized sections of the society. However, if we look at the law firms, some of the law firms by themselves are engaging in the pro bono service. So I want to make an analogy with the US American Bar Association rules, which mandates that every lawyer who has to get a renewal for the attorney's license, they have to undergo at least 50 hours of pro bono. That's something which is also there in Singapore, which is 30 hours, in Philippines and some other countries as well. However, if we talk about the Indian jurisdiction, there is nothing like a rule on this. So I had this question that as person who is running a law firm, who's heading a law firm, especially from both of you, ma'am, how do you see the role of pro bono works? Like, do you think that it should be a mandate from the government, or it should be something which should be, left with the firm's decision? Or how do you see pro bono work? Because at some point of time, the law firms, especially the big law firms, have more responsibility towards the marginalized section, at least like devoting some hours doing pro bono. So I wanted to hear your views on this. Thank you.
So maybe I go first.
Sure.
As a concept, I think it's a requirement. I mean, we really don't have such a system, and it's important that we all contribute back. I think it's important to show a balance. But when I actually come down to the application, I'm just wondering how, and I'm looking at my own office, right? We are a corporate law firm. We don't, the nature of the work that we do, whether it can actually fit in giving pro bono work. Because one of the things of doing pro bono is also that you do, I mean, no matter whether it's pro bono or not, one is about giving correct advice. And that too to a section of people who, unfortunately don't have the means to go to proper counsel, who don't have the means to, obviously can't afford it, who say get dealt a bad card, or, we can't afford to go wrong in their advice because they won't have the ability to actually take it further or fight. So I think it's a very, at a ethical level, and I agree but at a practical level, I think I need to. I'm trying to see how I can make it work.
Ankita?
Sir, I have a very different approach to it. Our firm gives pro bono. We have a section. Everyone can go and check the website of Ansana Legal and Tech Solutions. There we have a specific column for pro bono matters, and we are doing it. And here I take a responsibility of representing these people on my responsibility. So it's very rare that I give this thing to my team. If I take a responsibility tomorrow, my team will also take a responsibility. So I make sure that I personally go for that matter, appear in that matter, try to get the results in that matter. And this is how, if I'm not doing it, I cannot ask anyone else to do it, first of all. The second thing is that the pro bono is the biggest learn. I have learned from it. I was in Singapore and I have worked for 2 to 3 companies, which was a pro bono service to them. And because of the pro bono service, I was able to go in and sit in the meetings where the business strategy is being discussed, where the marketing strategy is being discussed. So I have always mentored this thing that yes, people should go for the pro bono side. And the corporate people should also, the corporate firms should also start this wing, because it's not about what we're practicing as a corporate or we're into completely litigation or what kind of a practice we have. We are lawyers. End of the day, we can take, because it's a universal law, we can take matters. I think everyone, as we have a corporate social responsibility for the corporate sectors, the same thing should be developed for the corporate firms here. And the responsibility of at least if every firm comes up or every council take at least 2 or 3 cases in a year as a pro bono, I think justice will be delivered, for which we are sitting here and we are trying and making our careers, money out of this profession. So to keep it noble profession, yes, I think it should become a mandate. And the people who are the heads of this, law firms or the offices, they have to start this practice. Then only you can ask your juniors or your interns to follow it and understand the importance of it. That is something which I think.
Good. So, Kavita, we have a question on YouTube. What are some tips for building relationships with clients?
I actually honestly don't have any tips. As I said, my relationships with my clients have been purely through my work. Made a lot of good friendships from that. I think the only tip can be, as I said, do your best. You're kind of being honest and open with the client. I've always maintained a line where I've told my clients which is my area of expertise and where the line stops and what is it that I cannot, I'm not competent enough, or I've not learned it, I've not practiced in that area. So I have a lot of friends clients who have now turned friends, but no specific tip per se.
Ankita, you have any?
The same thing. You have to be very true with your client. If you want your client to be true with you and tell every fact which is related to the matter, then you have to be very true. The one thing which I am seeing among my clients, I strategize things. I keep 2-3 options in front of them. Then I tell them what is the risk factor with this. I give them an opportunity to select what is to be done, because my job is to evaluate from all the 4 corners, and I keep that in front of them. They choose they are totally involved into their decision making. They take a responsibility of it, and we function smoothly under that pace. Building relationships. If truly speaking, I'll just give a reference to one of my client. We made him incorporated in Dubai as a tech company. And today he has become the partner of incubators, where they will develop tech for the people as a client who come to us. So my clients have also converted into a partnership. And it's only purely on the relationship of truthness and the strategy you make, the way you interact with them. I am a person who is very blunt. My entire team knows, my entire colleagues know. I do shout. I am angry person. I am very blunt. But yes, end of the day, there's certain clients who come and they say that, okay, you don't know this thing. I said, okay. After 3 months, they come back and they say, yes, what you advised was right. So I have seen that what I believe in this, my practice, that I have to be very blunt with my clients and very true to them. It's their responsibility, because end of the day, it's their money, their work, the people attached with them. It's a decision making which we have to help them. So we have to be very true with our clients. And this is how my relations have been built in now. And people are still sending me other clients. So crossing my fingers that it remains like that.
So Akash, there's a question on YouTube. What are some common mistakes that young lawyers make, and how can I avoid them?
I think with respect to the recruitment part, I think the major mistakes which they do is that they have a one fit formula, a one fit statement of purpose, and then they shoot emails to a lot of firms, and that's the reason why your email is ghosted by the law firms, and then people go to LinkedIn and write that these law firms don't even reply. So I think, like, if we talk about the recruitment, that's one. The other part is that a lot of young lawyers, while they are still in the law school, they don't, as both the ma'am said, that you need to explore the field of law. You need to learn the law before you actually get into, starting a law firm or starting an independent practice. I think some law students don't, take the internships seriously, especially in the first, second year. So a lot of this goes like in a very secretive manner. A lot of referencing is done. So it's more like a certificate run internship. It's not like a training, or you get to learn things which you do in internship. So I think, like, the major mistake is that the young lawyers don't utilize the 5-year time while they are still in law school. And especially for the people who are into the 3-year programs, for them, the time is very less. By the time they realize, and by the time they are serious with their career options, it's already the end of the second year. So I say that the young lawyers need to be more serious, need to plan everything by the time they're 6 months or 1 year into the law school. Because unless until you plan, let's say, even if you want to get a training contract with a firm in London, so majority of the firms say that you need to apply at least 18 months in advance. So you almost run out of all of these candidature just because of that. But the law schools which have tie-ups, for them it's super easy, because there is some person coming in from Ellen and Overy talking about the orientation and everything, that how you should apply. But the law schools where you don't have proper resources, it's going to be a problem. But this is how you get to learn from people who are leading the law firms. So you get to be serious in your internships. You talk to the senior people. And for me, I have interned in Chennai, I have interned in Delhi, I have interned in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I was blessed that all of the senior members from the law firms or the arbitration center throughout guided me, like, what you should do next if you want to, make arbitration as your career. But a lot of young lawyers, a lot of budding law students don't take this seriously. They're very shy, or they don't take this internship seriously. So they don't get the right advice from, the law firm senior members. And then they say that, the senior members were not guiding us. So there is a difference of opinion in between these young law students and the law firms. It's always a clash, but the law students needs to be very serious with the internships while in the law school.
Good, thank you. So the last topic we want to cover today is maybe the most important one, money and finance and accounting and profitability. I guess in a lot of ways, our profession is a simple business. We have employees and we have clients, and the people on the call, the managing partners of the firm's responsibility to ensure that there are good processes. So you have employees on one hand and clients on the other, and our job to have set up decent processes with the least amount of friction, and then the business runs properly. It took me a while to realize that in addition to being a good professional, you also then have to worry about running a good business so that there is profitability at the end of the day that ensures the continuity of the firm and growth of the firm. So Kavita, I want to ask you, obviously you've run the firm since 2006, so and it's a successful firm. So how do you ensure that there is net profit at the end of the month? And what financial controls have you put in place? And do you review your financial statements, profit and loss and balance sheet on a monthly basis? And I'm sure along the way, there have been some errors and mistakes that have happened. And what have you learned from them?
So I think yeah, definitely. And, we have learned a lot over the course of the years. I think it starts with the budgeting for the year, which kind of helps. And, you kind of set uh, we're not really, I think one understanding is, are we financial experts? No, but it's like you said, it's not so challenging to actually put down a simple set of numbers. I mean, where is your greatest spend? Your greatest spend is going to be your, the salary structure, and that is your I mean, while it is kind of variable a bit, but I mean, it's a fixed plus a variable, but I mean, that is where you need to do, it's an investment. You have to look at it as an investment. So I've tried to do, what I've done is I've tried to do a budgeting. So I kind of know what should be the, expected outflow for the year, or requirement, sorry, inflow for the year. AR is something that, really one needs to be on top of and keep, because it's quite a challenge. Unlike a foreign environment, I think in the foreign firms, it's much more, it's very clear, right? You have to get a deposit up front, and that's when they have to take the matter. And there's always this security deposit. I mean, unfortunately, we are really not so disciplined. You're trying, it's a very competitive world. You're trying not to lose the client. They think you're, I mean, it's a different kind of mindset here. So AR is, something you have to keep at it and, follow it up and make sure that you recover, because there's really no point in having a long pending AR. I think the checks and balances, I think more that we have, our monthly statements, and we kind of take stock at the end of it, but really not a many major evolved kind of I mean, there's as we said, once you draw the budget, you're staying within that. It kind of helps, because you have the different divisions, the fixeds, the variables. And what we did over the years is we started off very conservatively on the salary structures, because as a firm, we needed to make, we were small, we were young, we were still growing. But over the years, what we did do is we corrected it. So as the firm grew more financially stable, you start revisiting some of your, you don't hang on to your old ones, right? So you kind of revisit it, you reset some of them, you make some corrections. But and as long as we did that, I think we were able to also retain talent, and attract more talent. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
So Ankita, you do work without getting full payment in advance, or you bill clients as you work?
Correctly saying, the truth is that we are into a service industry. Demands are very different altogether. So it depends upon by client to client. Litigation works very differently, and the corporate side works very differently. At times, if the work is very challenging, the upfront fee is the method what we opt. With the corporate, it's retainership, and then it's per month based, or it is percentage based or something. And when it comes to litigants, yes, definitely, it takes them time to have faith on. So they always choose of giving money in breaks. So what we have started now is like taking per standing. So everything is evolving slowly. So there's no any static method. Like I told you, we are a new law firm. So even I'm juggling with how to maintain the balance between the finances of the company and giving the services at as much as low cost to the people. Definitely, I am not the right person to tell how the firm will work or how the profits is to be made, because I started my firm alone. Still, I'm alone. So it's a bootstrap firm. So everything is what has been put as a bootstrap. So still now for 4 years, now I have come to the balance of what is going out and what is coming in is on the equal front. Maybe tomorrow or next year it will be a profitable thing. So I am not the person who talks about the profits, but yes, money comes or inflow comes as per the client and how you bill them and how the work is. That's very
Right. So Akash, there was a study once when some magazine interviewed or asked 100 managing partners of law firms throughout the world that what do you wish that law schools would teach more of to the students? And the number one response was accounting and finance, because accounting is such an integral part of everything we do, whether it's corporate work or tax or litigation or IP or employment, there is money involved. 90% of litigation around the world is probably because of some money issues. So what do you think our law schools in India should be doing more of, and how do you teach accounting and finance to law students?
I agree with your idea that it should be taught in the law schools. However, the present courses, the mandatory courses specified by the Bar Council, does not provide for this. However, this is something which is frequently taught in BCom, LLB, and all these courses, also in the CS courses, like accounting and how do you take care of the finances, but that's not a mandatory course. And I think this needs to be at some point of time added. So for example, the mediation course is added as a mandatory course. At some point of time, I think the Bar Council will take this into consideration, that this is something which everyone who's passing the law degree should know this. Because at some point of time, when you are in the higher management, or even when you are at an associate level in a law firm, at some point of time, at least you need to know the basics of accounting and with respect to financing of the firm. So I agree with this, but this is something which is still lacking in the Indian course curriculum relating to law.
Wonderful. So I guess it's getting late and we should let people go to sleep. I want to thank Ankita and Akash and Kavita for a great panel, and thank you for sharing insights and your experiences. And Madurai, if you'll send us a link to the YouTube or Facebook channel, then we can send it to our friends. Appreciate everything you're doing, Madhura. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Akash. Thank you, Kavita.
A pleasure, Namit, sir. Thank you for calling us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.